Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caitlin Driscoll, and I'm the Public Relations Director of the Better Business Bureau serving Western Pennsylvania. And our office does serve all of the 28 counties of Western Pennsylvania, so all the way up to Erie County and over to State College. I'm excited to talk to all of you today about just this growing importance of online reputation management and how you can use it to help earn and maintain the trust of your customers. So we're going to start with an overview of what makes consumers trust a business, and then we'll get into some examples of how you can use your online presence to show your customers what you stand for, as well as how the Better Business Bureau can help. Finally, just recognizing the overall increasing prevalence of fraud and its potential impact, especially on a small business's reputation, we're going to talk about fraud prevention tips for businesses and how you can protect your business and your employees from falling victim to scams. So a quick bit about the Better Business Bureau, for those of you who may not be as familiar. BBB has been around for over 100 years, really since the days of those snake oil salesmen when advertising was a bit of a wild, wild west. No one was looking out for consumers who were being misled by deceptive ads until the Better Business Bureau was created by a group of business leaders for that intended purpose. Now, ironically enough, with today's online interconnected global economy, we're kind of right back to that wild, wild west, and people still need to know who they can trust. And that's where the Better Business Bureau comes in to help, because we've made it our mission to be the leader in promoting trust in the marketplace. Today, the Better Business Bureau connects millions of consumers to businesses, brands, and charities they can trust. Each year as a whole, our organization provides more than 300 million instances of service to the public. And we break that down into services you could see on this slide, such as providing access to BBB business profiles that are based on inquiries about a business, our dispute resolution services and complaint handling, processing positive, neutral, and negative customer reviews on businesses, and our scam reports through BBB Scam Tracker, along with a growing number of other programs and services that we're able to provide free to the public through support of over 400,000 BBB accredited businesses. Like I had mentioned, our mission is to help people find businesses, brands, and charities they can trust. And we do that by establishing what we call our 8 standards for trust. And I know a lot of you are in various stages of growing your business. But one thing to always keep in mind is how trust plays into your company's relationship with your customers. As you think about your company's relationship with even BBB in the future, these components may just be helpful to consider building trust into your business now. And the BBB standards for trust consist of 8 principles that you could see here, covering business practices that help build and maintain trust, credibility, and a good reputation. And these standards serve as the foundation for our accreditation standards that accredited businesses are required to meet and maintain in order to join the Better Business Bureau and remain accredited. So these standards are the components of what we're looking for in a trustworthy business. Essentially, we feel that good businesses should strive to build trust, advertise honestly, tell the truth, and be transparent in their business dealings. They should also honor their promises, be responsive, safeguard privacy, and approach all business dealings, transactions, and commitments with integrity. So we've talked about the Better Business Bureau a bit and our standards for what being a trustworthy business means. Let's talk about just this general state of trust in today's marketplace. So we had conducted a study to evaluate customer business relationships and explore the value of trust and what people perceive as better businesses and why. And approximately 3,500 businesses and consumers in the US and Canada were surveyed. And the major finding from this study is that trust really does matter and have an impact in business. We asked companies how important they believe customer trust is to their company's success. And we asked consumers how important it is that they trust a company when doing business with it. And both businesses and consumer survey respondents rated trust as an important component to the interactions between consumers and businesses. However, it was interesting that only 1 in 4 consumers reported being completely likely to trust companies with which they do business. So not only does trust matter, but there is some concern that trust in businesses today may not be as strong as it could be. We then asked consumers and businesses to assess if there's more, less, or about the same amount of trust in companies today than 5 years ago. And a notable proportion of businesses and consumers reported in support of the findings on our previous slide that they feel there's less trust in business today than 5 years ago. So trust is an important factor to both businesses and customers, but there's less of it. In fact, according to Edelman's Trust Barometer, distrust is now society's default emotion. And I find that to be a pretty powerful quote. So just take a minute and stop and consider, how do your customers perceive your business? And we all like to think we're acting ethically and providing the best customer service that we can, but there are a lot of different factors that really go into how someone perceives a business. As we all know, the cost to retain a happy customer is less than it is to find a new one, and satisfied customers are likely to become repeat customers. So the question is, what makes consumers trust businesses? And consumers explained to us in this study that honesty, transparency, customer service, and ethical practices are the key components to their trusting of companies. Also, a history or a record of ongoing honesty, ethics, and transparency, and good quality customer service, which builds good business reputation over time. And through this feedback, we started to see a pattern here that certain types of behaviors were more likely associated with positive experiences with companies. And these behaviors are components of the 5 gestures of trust that you could see here in this diagram. So being honest is probably the most fundamental of the gestures, the one that most consumers and businesses identified first as important. So in essence, be honest. Does it feel like your company tells customers what it should be telling them? The information that's important to them in a way that makes plain sense to them. When it comes to transparency, businesses most often interpret this as having nothing to hide, but consumers reported transparency as how willing companies are to share information, particularly when doing so might make them competitively vulnerable. Consumers do judge whether transparency is being provided because it's the right thing to do, or because of media or community pressure or customer threat. Customers want businesses to be proactive, to take their inquiries seriously, and to respond promptly. A business that goes above and beyond to request and is focused on being customer-centric gives people the feeling that your business is proactive, which helps them in turn trust you as a business. And the idea of being humble embodies the idea that a company exists as part of something larger than itself, and that its success is credited in part to other entities, so such as its customers, the community, and your employees. Companies that are humble view their customers as partners and try at every opportunity to help them thrive in the context of their daily lives. And then the last one, in being equitable, consumers want to feel that they're on an equal playing field with your business and that you're not some big entity that's out to get them. Consumers want to feel empowered. So try applying these gestures to your way of doing business to see what happens. It might transform the way your customers view your company. So start by assessing where you are in terms of each of the gestures, and then target where you want to be. Identify those gaps and plan how you can close them. So to recap, we've gone over some things that can help your business stand out as trustworthy, and we can also add to these points as well. So when you receive a customer compliment or a complaint, whether in the form of a comment, letter, email, or something more formal, try applying the 5 gestures framework. See if you can identify where the customer perceives that a gesture is missing or has been violated. And doing so really can help you pinpoint the root of a problem that a customer is experiencing and help you to properly address it. Sometimes a customer simply might be angry. They can't clearly identify for themselves what's upsetting them about an experience. So if we take all of this information and put it into our daily business routine, we're likely to be on the path to earning our customers' trust. While your customers' trust is something that you have to earn, there are continuous ways to show them online that you care. When you build trust into your organization from the ground up, you don't have to convince consumers to buy. Your reputation does the selling for you. So let's take a look at some ways that your business can promote this trust using your online and social media presence. So first of all, is your business online? And I hope that it is, because 4.9 billion people use the internet. 93% of consumers read online reviews. So your customers are out there, they're looking for your business. And especially following the pandemic, if your company isn't online, it really needs to be. Your online presence is in some cases a customer's first impression of your business. So it's vital to make sure that you stand out with your best foot forward. And this is something that you can essentially control on your own. And when your customer visits your website, they're typically looking for things like your phone number, address, photos of your work, email, perhaps how to request a quote or a bid. But they're also looking to see that your company's website content is informative and that your company is a reputable business in your industry. So make sure it's up to date and that this information is easily accessible. Another way to show your customers that you're a leader in the industry is to have content that teaches them about your industry and business. So things like how to posts and what to expect posts when hiring a contractor, for example, are great ways to show your customers that you know what it takes to be a reputable business in the industry and that you're here to help them through their home project or whatever their need might be based on your specialty. In addition to your website, you also have an internet presence on things like directories, review sites, maybe even on the Better Business Bureau's website at bbb.org. And oftentimes these various sites will create a listing for your business without you needing to do anything. So you'll want to do a search for your company's name, even your personal name, to see how your customers are seeing you. Pretend you're a consumer, do a search for yourself, see what pops up. Chances are, if you don't know what's out there about your company, your customer does. And depending on what they find, it may be keeping them from wanting to do business with you. And according to Thrive Hive, businesses should be listed on the following directories shown on this slide. So again, websites like Google My Business, Facebook, Yelp, BBB are all free to have a listing. And in some cases, your listing will be created without you knowing, but you can always claim your listing to and add additional information or update it. Many of these sites also offer customers the ability to leave a review. So we'll get into that more, but it's really important to know where your customers are finding you, what your customers are saying about your business, so you can monitor these platforms for accuracy so that they can successfully point people to your business as well. Now, specifically through the Better Business Bureau, any business is able to request that a business profile be developed for your company at no cost and update your information at any time by selecting Register Your Business from the menu at bbb.org. And each year, more than 140 million unique visitors view business profiles on bbb.org to research a company's letter grade, their complaint history over a 3-year period, and more. And while other organizations base their ratings solely on consumer reviews, we use a unique algorithm to evaluate businesses and post alerts when a company's facing major government action, if they've lost their license to operate or been subject to a BBB investigation. And this at-a-glance assessment of trustworthiness helps to instill consumer confidence. So this is a free opportunity for all businesses to take advantage of to help enhance your online presence. So going along with that same idea of people looking for you online, there's a reason for it. Today's consumers prefer learning about your business from other customers and third-party resources, not just from you. In fact, 92% of consumers are turning to the opinions of friends and family over all forms of advertising. If a consumer sees a post about a company from a friend or a family member online, they're more likely to be influenced by that friend or family member's opinion. And we're living in the age of the customer, where the customer determines his or her experience with a brand. So again, in this online world that we live in, knowing what your customers are saying about you online is really the first step to managing your online reputation. And social media can be a great tool for generating real conversations about your brand and building trust with customers and prospects. So instead of using social media as just another channel to promote your business, use it to build a community that believes in what you stand for. Social media is giving a voice to people in a way that no other medium really has before. So you want to be a part of that conversation, not just use it to promote your business. Engaging with your customers by monitoring the conversations and then responding as needed is now so important to every brand's reputation. So the key takeaways here are, again, it's really important to be monitoring where your business is being mentioned online. Having your own website is a great way to help control the conversation about your company. But it's important to realize too that there are other sites out there that may have started a profile on your business. So you'll want to think like your customer, do a search for your business periodically to see what others are saying. Most major sites like the Better Business Bureau enable you to register your business so that you're alerted to receiving reviews. Register your business so that you, or better yet, a team, are alerted so that you can review and respond to the reviews. Google Alerts also even allows you to set up to receive notifications when keywords that you set, such as your business's name, president's name, products, projects, et cetera, are identified on Google. And this is another free tool that provides alerts so a business is able to proactively review and respond to content related to your company. And there are also reputation management services. Hootsuite is a big one. Sprout Social is another, that are available to provide monitoring tools at a cost to track and manage responses to online content and reviews. So depending on your business, you may find these services worth the cost. But again, we always recommend and suggest research the reputation of these services first and whether they're going to be a good fit and worth the investment for your business. And we're now going to get into the topic of online customer reviews and the effects that they can have on your business. So what happens when you've been monitoring your social and online presence and you spot a negative or unfavorable review? What happens next? And it can be scary thinking that what you write back will be something that your future and potential customers will see. But when you do get a negative review, the first thing you should do is take a breather. So you don't want to fly off the handle and do something to make yourself look bad, especially if you think the customer complaint is false. Your instinct is to react in the heat of the moment. It's natural, but you don't want to regret it. And unfortunately, we see this happen all too often with businesses that we interact with. Take some time, formulate a polite reply, acknowledge the person who's complaining and say that you appreciate the input, explain your side, and add that human touch to it. And as we've previously discussed, consumers find businesses to be trustworthy when they have a human nature to them and provide that human touch element. At the Better Business Bureau, we always encourage customers to attempt to resolve an issue directly with the business first, but we also always remind businesses getting a bad review or receiving a complaint against your company is not the end of the world. In fact, we found 57% of people are actually suspicious of brands that only have positive reviews. And most customers are not going to write you off based on one negative comment. Many, however, will gain respect for a company if they respond to the comment in a pleasant and helpful way. And of course, that's not always easy to do when you pour your life into a business and someone seemingly is bashing it online. But you can turn it into a positive by engaging in a constructive way and showing you're a genuine business. Contrary to belief, the majority of people aren't looking for perfection online. What they're really looking for is humanity and genuine response. So a negative review, it can be a great opportunity to respond in a positive and transparent manner. And that has a good impact on all of your customers. So here is one real life example of, in my opinion, a business responding pretty positively to a negative customer review and engaging in a constructive way. And essentially, a customer allegedly received what would have been an expensive misdiagnosis on a problem with their air conditioner, is the synopsis of the customer review that had been left. And based on the business's response, they owned up to this issue. They apologized and took full responsibility for the situation. They provided further background information and insight regarding the overall circumstances and provided details on how they were working to ensure that the same situation wouldn't happen again in the future. They went above and beyond what was required in this situation to do the right thing by issuing a refund for the customer service fee. And the company's response provided even a bit of a human touch, I feel, by stating that they hoped the customer was staying cool through the muggy weather. Additionally, here are some examples of businesses responding quite negatively to unfavorable customer reviews and engaging in a not so constructive way. These businesses' responses ranged from insulting their customers to reacting in inappropriate emotional ways, and overall just responding in ways that are definitely going to make potential customers think twice about patronizing their establishments. Especially in today's instant world where everything is seemingly online and lives there forever, I really feel that this quote by Warren Buffett is important to always keep in mind when it comes to running your business. So I wanted to include that here. So again, don't let bad reviews ruin your day. Handled correctly, a negative comment is a great opportunity to draw attention to your business's many positive qualities. Turn the comment around by highlighting your strengths, something along the line of, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. We've been in business for more than 25 years. We serve thousands of customers a week, and we strive to create the best possible retail experience for the community. Responses like that are a great way to frame your story while still making the person feel heard and acknowledged. And remember that potential customers will be reading your comment. You want to leave them with a positive impression of your business, and you also want to do it in a timely manner. So again, this goes back to being aware of what's being said about your company so that you're responding as quickly as you can to an issue to resolve it, not just letting it sit out there and fester for months, not even being aware that potential customers are seeing something negative out there. Now, on a more positive note, it's important to point out that you shouldn't just respond to negative reviews. So it's always a good idea to respond to the positive ones as well. Even just thanking customers for their feedback and showing appreciation for their support. Feedback like that is also great to pass along to the rest of your team, your employees, to help improve morale. If you're a good business, which I'm sure all of you are, since you're choosing to attend this session, you want to encourage your customers to leave reviews. You should want your customers to be your mouthpiece. And when happy customers leave positive reviews, it can drive leads to your company. In fact, 72% of consumers say positive customer reviews make them trust a business more. You should want your future customers to see how well you handle your negative ones so that positive reviews can shine brightly. And with BBB's customer review process, just like our complaint process, we confirm that a marketplace interaction took place between the reviewer and the business. Then BBB gives the company an opportunity to respond to the review. And we strive to take steps to minimize misuse and improve consumer experience by validating the email address or phone number of all reviewers, allowing the business to confirm an interaction with a particular consumer, and respond to customer comments, and by not permitting anonymous reviews or reviews in which the consumer was compensated. Reviews are also scrubbed to remove any inappropriate language or personal information before being published to a company's BBB business profile. So how do we get more reviews? And one way to do it is to just ask. Most satisfied customers would be happy to give you one. And sometimes all people really need is just a friendly nudge. And the point of sale can be an ideal time to ask because that's when you've got your customer at the height of their euphoria. When we've got our customer where there we can hand them a small takeaway card that invites them to share their experience. And some companies have even added QR codes to these cards that make it really quick and easy for people to write reviews on the spot using their mobile devices. These printed invites can also be used as tangible reminders for people to submit customer reviews later on. And you can also add a call to action button on your website or social media page where people can click to leave a review. In the case of BBB customer reviews, when a customer leaves a review for you with us, it'll appear directly on your business profile page once it's vetted and can be a great reminder for why your company cares about your customers. It's also important, of course, to point out some of the legalities surrounding customer reviews. This is coming up more often because the Federal Trade Commission is cracking down on companies regarding solicitation and payment in exchange for positive customer reviews. So in general, do not suppress bad reviews, but know that you can remove or prohibit reviews that are considered abusive, vulgar, or threatening in any way. Don't ask for reviews from people who haven't used or experienced your product or service, and never write fake reviews or pay others to do it for you. Recognize the legalities and disclosure requirements regarding incentivizing customer reviews. For example, if an incentive, such as a discount or a coupon, is offered to encourage a customer to post a review, the use of incentives is generally okay as long as it's prominently disclosed. However, you can never condition an incentive for a review on a positive outcome. Overall, your online reputation is something that takes time to grow and requires careful maintenance to ensure that customers are going to see you in the best light. But it's your job as the company to respond to critics and cheerleaders in a customer-centric way. So we've been talking specifically about the importance of trust in business and reputation management, but certainly scams and a business being the victim of fraud can have a significant negative impact on a business's reputation and trust as well. So we're going to move on to the fraud component of our presentation. Now, scammers target businesses of all sizes in every industry with constantly evolving tactics. However, BBB has found that smaller businesses are actually the most common victims of fraud, particularly being more susceptible to online scams. And they're also less likely to report scams too. Interestingly, the US Securities and Exchange Commission also reports that 60% of small companies go out of business within 6 months of a cyber attack. So it's really vital for businesses to protect themselves and create an internal culture of fraud awareness with their employees. Interestingly, despite these statistics, when the Better Business Bureau had conducted a study on small business fraud, in general, the majority of business owners perceive other businesses as being more likely to be targeted and fall for a scam as opposed to their own business. In fact, 82% of businesses responded in this way. And I think that that's something we're probably all guilty of to a certain extent, that we hear the news, we're aware of these situations happening and a significant amount of money, personal information being lost to fraud, but we may have a tendency to think that this happens to other businesses, to other people, until all of a sudden it does happen to us and we're unprepared. And at the Better Business Bureau, we recognize that scams undermine and erode trust, and they steal billions of dollars from consumers in legitimate businesses. So one of the ways we fight against fraud is through BBB Scam Tracker, which is a free interactive crowdsourced tool that enables people to report scams they encounter and allows us, as well as our government and law enforcement partners, to track and expose scams and gain insight into scammers' techniques. We're excited. We actually just upgraded the BBB Scam Tracker platform last week too, with financial support from our partners at Amazon and Capital One. So definitely go out, especially if you haven't been before, to bbb.org/scam tracker to view information about scams being reported locally, nationwide, and to report scams that you encounter as well. But annually, we compile all of this data from BBB Scam Tracker into an annual risk report. So we're able to look at trends over time and highlight how scammers change their tactics as the marketplace evolves. Last year, we had over 46,000 reports to BBB Scam Tracker, and the likelihood of financial loss continued to climb. By using the BBB Risk Index, which consists of 3 different factors to assess scam risk, which are exposure, susceptibility, and monetary loss, we're able to determine the top riskiest scam in addition to the most reported scam types. Because sometimes the most reported scam type isn't always the riskiest one that people are losing the most amount of money to or actually falling victim to most often. And in last year's risk report, we specifically included a component regarding the top scams reported by businesses. About 3.5% of all reports to Scam Tracker last year were for scams targeting a business. And when targeted by a scam, companies reported losing money 22% of the time, with an average median dollar loss at $245, which was higher than for consumers at about $169. But fake invoice and supplier bill scams were both the riskiest and most prevalent scam type for businesses. In this scam, employees pay for products that the business didn't order or that don't even exist. Fake invoices are often submitted for office supplies, website or domain hosting services, and even directory listings. Bank and credit card company imposter scams were the number 2 riskiest and 3rd most reported scam by businesses. And by impersonating a bank or credit card issuer, a scammer pretends to verify account information to get their targets to share credit card or banking details. For worthless problem-solving services, sometimes scammers claim to be able to provide low-cost solutions to problems they know that a lot of businesses tend to have. For example, they might claim that they can repair a business's online reputation or provide quick relief if it's struggling with debt, funding, or back taxes, all of course for some type of upfront fee. And here on this slide, these are some examples of the typical scenarios that we hear about regarding businesses being targeted by scams involving counterfeit checks, these fake or non-existent services. So you could see fake computer repair, but they really had data harvested from their customer database, and even fraudulent invoices or supplier bills. So you really have to know, do your research on suppliers, on businesses that you choose to do business with. And of course, the Better Business Bureau can always help with that as well. I also wanted to call attention to various phishing scams that target businesses, because it has been found phishing accounts for 90% of successful data breaches. And 30% of phishing messages actually do get opened by targeted users. And with so many businesses still working from home in some capacity, now more than ever, it's important to be on the lookout for phishing scams from both a personal and professional stance. In the most basic sense, phishing scams are emails that try to trick people and businesses into providing personal or financial information. And they tend to impersonate well-known trusted companies, trying to get you to click a link that may lead to an online form to enter information, or they might even try to get you to download an attachment that contains malware. But phishing scams also often claim that they've noticed suspicious activity or login attempts, that there's a problem with your account or payment information, that you have to update your account, open a fake invoice, or even that you're eligible to access a great offer to trick you into clicking or opening that attachment. And despite our spam filters doing a pretty good job of keeping a lot of these phishing scams out of our inboxes. Scammers are always trying to outsmart spam filters. So it's a good idea to add those extra layers of protection. So make sure all of your devices are protected by using the most up-to-date security software, the latest version of apps. Set software and apps to update automatically if you forget, because these updates can give you critical protection against new security threats. It's also recommended to protect your accounts by using multi-factor authentication whenever possible. And this makes it more difficult for scammers to log into accounts if they get access to your username and password. Often the additional credentials you need to log in could be a passcode received through text message, email, or a phone call. And this is even something important for businesses to remember and keep in mind if you're offering any type of account feature through your services or login capabilities, how you can implement multi-factor authentication to better protect your customers. Ensure your data is protected from an accidental breach by backing it up and making sure those backups aren't connected to your home network. You could copy computer files to an external hard drive or cloud storage. Make sure you don't forget about your phone and back up that data too. And scammers usually try to cast a wide net by including little to no specific information in their fake emails. So be cautious of unsolicited messages from contacts that don't contain your name, last digits of your account number, other personalized information that might usually be included in their correspondence with you. If something seems suspicious from a company that you do business with, that you have an account with, confirm it by calling the company directly or checking the company website. Avoid clicking on any links and type the URL for the company into your browser to log into your account. And this is also something to be transparent about and encourage your customers about as well regarding your policies for payment and personal information, perhaps making it known that you'll never solicit payment specifically just by a gift card or mobile transfer or wire transfer, or these are the steps that you take so that they can be sure that they're dealing with the legitimate correspondence with your company. Another way to help spot a fake email is by hovering over the links and checking whether a URL leads to a business's website or to a third-party site. And the example on this screen supposedly comes from Verizon, but hovering over the link revealed its true destination as an unsecure site that had nothing to do with Verizon. Now, if you're checking email on your phone, tap on the name of the sender to see the full email address in order to help identify if that sender is legitimate or not. Even slight misspellings, grammatical errors, misplaced capitalization are strong red flags of an international phishing scam. And if you receive a phishing email, delete it from your inbox completely. Empty your trash can or recycling bin. And if you did click on a link, run your antivirus, anti-malware software to be safe. When it comes to avoiding being the victim of a scam targeting a business, being proactive is important in risk management, especially when it comes to small businesses. Because small businesses face so many other urgent priorities, prevention efforts often end up at the bottom of the priority list. And this is something that scammers recognize and capitalize on. Train and inform your employees. Explain to staff how scams happen, share information with them. Encourage employees to talk to their coworkers if they spot a scam, and train them not to send passwords or sensitive information by email, even if the correspondence seems to come from you or to come from a manager. Verify all invoices and payments. Never pay unless you know the bill is for items that were actually ordered, and make sure procedures are clear for approving invoices or expenditures. It's also recommended to limit the number of people who are authorized to place orders and to pay invoices. Make sure major spending can't be triggered by some kind of unexpected call, email, or invoice. And pay attention to how someone asks you to pay. Tell your staff to do the same. We've talked about this before, but know who you're dealing with. So before doing business with a new company, search the company's name online with the term scam or complaint. Read what others are saying about that company. Check bbb.org to see if there's a business profile on the company, and ask for recommendations from other trusted local business owners in your community. Be tech savvy as well. We all have to be nowadays, from a consumer and a business standpoint. Don't always believe your caller ID, because imposters often fake caller ID to gain your trust. It's so easy today to create legitimate looking email addresses and websites. Don't open attachments or download files from unexpected emails, and secure your organization's files, passwords, and financial information. As a reminder, the Better Business Bureau is always here to help build trust by serving as a helpful resource to the business community and consumers, by resolving disputes between businesses and their customers, and by warning of fraudulent activity through our Scam Tracker program. So please visit bbb.org to access any of our resources. Visit bbb.org/scam tracker to track and report any scams you do encounter. That information is shared with our law enforcement partners to take action, but the important part is that all of that information is accessible to anyone, which is why it's always a good idea to report scams to us, even if you recognize something as being a scam, to help warn other people and businesses. But I'd like to thank you all for your time and attention. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. We are here to help. You can access our information 24 hours a day at bbb.org. During normal business hours, our phone lines are open 8:30 to 3:30. You can also contact us through live chat on bbb.org, through social media, and correspond directly with a live information specialist from our local office for more information and help.
Caitlin, thank you so much. That was a lot of information, but all very useful, especially since the holidays are ramping up here in a little bit. For everybody that jumped on during Caitlin's presentation, I will follow up with an email, a little more information about SBDC and the services from BBB. And be sure to connect with Caitlin or myself if you have any questions moving forward with your small business venture during the holiday season and after. Caitlin, again, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.